Welcome to Detangle, where we untangle the complexities of life, one conversation at a time. I'm your host, Dr. Kinjal, a health psychologist and a writer. Today, I am playing one more role though, that of a starry eyed fangirl. For my guest today is the undisputed queen of Indian cinema and a personal favorite. Before I introduce her though, let me tell you what such a prolific film personality is doing on a mental health podcast. When the world was reeling from the recent pandemic, doctors saved lives, psychologists helped balance emotional upheavals. But it was artists like actors and musicians that actually made life livable then. Movies aren't only entertainment, they are a way for people to bond. When a theatre is full and an intense scene plays on that screen, there is a universal consciousness that awakens and everyone merges into one single emotional being. Isn't that what happens when a Maharati takes place too? The power of the collective consciousness awakens. We have none other than Kajol Devgn with us today to talk about the mental health aspect of movies. Kajol needs no introduction really, but in case someone from another galaxy has tuned in, let me tell you a few highlights from her life and career. Kajol's career in films and television spans over 2 decades. She has won numerous awards including Filmfare Awards for Best Actress in a Lead Role. Yes, in plural. Kajol was also awarded the Padma Shri by the Government of India in 2011. I could really go on, but honestly, I can't wait to dive into this conversation now. Welcome, Kajol, and thank you so much for honoring this invitation and joining me on my podcast.
My pleasure, Kinjal. Happy to be here.
Well, let's get started then. So, Kajol, you've been in this industry at the very top for decades now. Your fan base covers 3 generations. How did this happen for you? Did you always have a plan in place or did you just go with the flow?
I think my life kind of started off as pretty much my whole life has been like, the kind of thing that says that man proposes and God disposes. So no, there was no plan in mind really. It just kind of life happened to me and I let it and, it worked out beautifully. My choices worked out for me at least. So no, this was not planned at all. In fact, I didn't want to get into films because of the fact that I always felt that, my mother worked too hard. And I always used to tell her, I was like, I never want to work as hard as you. And so that was where I started off from. But I found some wonderful people to work with who kind of adopted me right off the bat and, kind of made it their mission in life to take care of me. And that's exactly what happened. I found the right people to work with.
That sounds so beautiful. So tell me, you belong to a generation which has now carried DDLJ into 1,200 weeks. Congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you so much.
But you also now belong to a generation which demands instant entertainment through 10-second reels and 7-second videos. Have you had to change your process, to accommodate this dwindling attention span?
I personally have not, but that's just because I honestly am not that invested in social media. As far as work process is concerned, I think working has become, of course, there is an OTT platform. There is, there are lots of other ways to do it. But my job essentially has not changed.
Right.
A lot of things have changed. But no, my job as an actor, probably I have kept it simpler. I know a lot of other people who have probably, gotten onto that bandwagon, but I personally have not.
So you continue doing what you do best and the rest is history.
I don't know about history, but I hope it's the future as well.
Of course. Yeah. Let me share something very personal with you and one of the reasons why I thought of you for this podcast. So my 15-year-old daughter, she had a very tough competition coming up and was very jittery the night before. And she just wanted a feel-good evening. So she came into my lounge and played Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum and she just curled up with me. I was surprised she knew most of the dialogues by heart. She allowed herself to be completely soaked in by the dramatic scenes, like one more time.
Yeah.
And this movie gave her that safe space. It was predictable, it was warm. It was like she was with an old friend, and she's 15, this movie is 22 years old. How do you do this? I mean, how do you create such timeless magic? It just didn't go away.
I think it has to do with, it just has to do with that time, that structure. Magic is created once and for all, by all the people involved in it. So I can't take credit for it and say that it's my magic. But yes, I was a part of it for sure. I think it's everybody combined, really. And I think, when you make something with your whole heart and soul, somewhere down the line, the camera captures that
True.
and sees it for what it is. I think honesty always comes through. So really,
And true,
that's
yes, honesty is timeless, isn't it?
yes, it is.
Lovely. So tell me, there have also been some roles which have not been all, happy-go-lucky, and they have been intense. And as a psychologist, I understand that a movie is not just those 3 hours. It is
Right.
those, endless weeks and months that you prepare for your role. You get into the mind of the character. So,
Right.
have you ever played a role which took a toll on your mind for that while, but it was worth it in the end?
I did a film called Udhar Ki Zindagi, actually,
Okay.
very long back, very early in my career, and the film didn't do well. But yeah, after the film got over, I was burnt out as an actor, as in every which way. So I actually told my mom, I was like, that's it. Enough of honesty. I'm tired of doing these films which, require so much out of me. I don't have anything more to give.
Right.
And so I did reach that point, and I was burnt out, and I was very honest and upfront about it also with my mom, and she was quite cool about it. And then I was like, okay, I want to do these. I want to do only the next films that I want to do. I want to be just doing like 4 songs and 3 scenes in a film, and I'm done in the film. I don't have to put too much glycerine, and I don't have to cry, and I don't have to break my heart in 7,000 pieces, and be there so much, be so present. So that's what I did. And then I kind of gradually learned, of course, over a process of time, how to keep just enough of myself back. And that really helped me. That, I think, is the true technique of an actor, because you can't be honest on your 33rd retake.
Right, I
It's
mean,
very
of course.
difficult to be honest and be so, out there and so present all the time. It really, really takes a toll out of you. And that's something that's just so emotionally draining that it's like you're exhausted. You feel like you've run like a 42-kilometer marathon in the burning sun by the end of it. And you're done for the day. So like I said, as an actor, that these are the techniques really that you do to conserve just enough of yourself so that you have technique at hand, as well as your honesty.
Right. That's a very difficult line to walk, It's like this tightrope walk that you're describing, which your audience really doesn't know about. They see the perfection, they see the colors on the screen and the lights and the camera and the action, but they don't know how much the mind has to be trained and tuned.
No,
and,
but that's one thing that I love about audiences, because I think audiences have this innate ability to recognize honesty. And the camera is this amazing, magical, man-made, magical thing that is able to capture that honesty. That I find amazing. That you can't lie to the camera.
I
Whatever you're
agree,
doing over there, you have to be truthful in front of the camera. It always catches you.
Yeah,
So
even if
I
someone-
feel, that's something that I feel, even if you credit me with, like, if you say that DDLJ has run for these, 2,000 whatever weeks, I feel that it's run because all these people have made it. All the people who are watching the film have made it their own. It's not because of us. We made a film and we kind of put it out there. But all these people who have watched it time and again, made their kids watch it, made their grandkids watch it, made it a family tradition. I know lots of people who actually come here and make Maratha Mandir a stopover. Actually,
How
it's
lovely.
become it's actually become like a almost like, Gateway of India and Maratha Mandir. So you have to do
I'm
these.
sure.
ये दो चीजें तो करनी है बॉम्बे में.
And it's actually that beautiful, and then, like you said, over the years it turns into legend. It's something a grandparent gave a grandchild.
Yeah, so I've had lots of people who come and told me our love stories began in the theater while we were watching your movie, and I feel that's one of the biggest compliments that I can
That's
get.
so beautiful. And that is so lovely.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, let me ask you a slightly tougher question. Something which has played on my mind for a very long time. Again, as a psychologist, I come with this to you. I see a lot of children of businessmen, industrialists who are second generation, third generation. born into money, leading a lavish lifestyle, and very unapologetically. I'm not saying they're right or wrong, but nobody points a finger at them. On the other hand, if there is a film star, anybody in the movies whose child is living a particular lifestyle, which again may not be right or wrong, but they're constantly judged. They're constantly judged very openly, whether it is media, social media, anything. How do you deal with that, and how do you help your children deal with that, kind of keeping their mental health strong?
It's really it's really a catch-22 situation. But the fact is that they have been dealing with it from the time that they are kids. So in an odd, strange way, they kind of get used to it, And they're taught from the time that they're children that, okay, whenever you go out here, this is going to happen, that is going to happen. They anticipate it, predict it, try to, kind of, protect themselves in every which way that they can. Can't really do that much, but how much ever they can. And most importantly, I think at least that's what I have done with my kids. I've told them that, there are like 500 people who are telling you that it's all good and you're fine. And there are 3 people who are standing up there and yelling and screaming and trolling you. So the only thing that you can do is appreciate the fact that there are 500 people out there and there are 3 people out here. So it's a disbalanced notion, and I believe that my children are intelligent enough. Of course, it hurts. I'm not saying it doesn't hurt. It does hurt, and it does upset them with the trolling and the attention when it gets into a negative space. But I think that's something that that they have to deal with it. There's no choice in the matter. So yeah, they're doing the best that they can, and that's all I can ask of them.
Of course. Do you have any memory that is, one of your happiest career memories so far? I'm sure you've got a whole bucket load of them by now. But that one memory which always makes you smile?
No, honestly, I have...
Too many?
Too many, really, too many. I really have been blessed that way that I have most of my career, I would say 90% of my career, I've worked with such amazing people. I've worked with such amazing people who are still my friends, even though I meet them once in maybe... I haven't met some people forever. But whoever I've worked with, I've always had such a, cool relationship with, and such a nice, wonderful, warm working relationship with, that whenever I meet them till today, it's Abbas Bhai, Mustan Bhai for that matter, the directors of Bazigar, or whoever I meet, actually. All my directors, all my co-stars have been absolutely wonderful to work with. And whether I meet them every day or I meet them once in 7 years or once in 8 years at a function somewhere or a party somewhere, I'm just constantly inundated with so much warmth. And there is no one particular point in time in my career that I can say, oh, this stood out. I really can't say that because...
Well, I think that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, exactly. I have so much gratitude and I have so much love. Really, I'm genuinely blessed that, I have, like, all the people that I like me back, at least. I don't know about the rest of it, but all the people that I like me back.
I think that works, yeah. That's a good equation to be in, yes. And it's very empowering. I've always found you to be very empowered with what you're doing, with your kind of work. You don't, you don't seem to be taking nonsense from anyone or giving nonsense to anyone either. You do your work, you let someone else do their work, everyone's happy.
Exactly. And I think that's pretty much the rest of the world also. It's not me in particular, let me put it out there. That it's pretty much the rest of the world. I think 90% of the world does work like that. They all just want to go there, do their jobs and, come back and, live the rest of their lives.
True.
So yeah, that's me.
So now you see a lot of these younger actors coming in, doing very well, being one hit, one film wonders. I think it's more common now because attention span, like I said, has reduced dramatically. So we see a film or we see an actor, we applaud them, and then they're just out of memory. Do you have any advice on how to make it stick and how to last for decades in people's memories?
I have no advice. The first piece of advice I will give everybody is please don't take anybody's advice. It is the worst thing in the world to be sitting over here and, meting out advice also and taking advice also. I think if you follow your own path, do what you think is right without listening to all the 10,000 voices that are there on social media and otherwise. I think that, what your gut feels is the right thing for you to do is probably something that you can live with. You should be able to live with yourself and look at yourself in the mirror every morning. I think that's the biggest piece of advice anybody can give, really.
Right, make the right choices and live with them.
Not right choices, but make the choices that you can live with. Make the choices that are right for you. They may not be right for the rest of the world, but if they're right for you, make them so that you can face yourself in the mirror, 10 years down the line and say that, okay, I did what I thought was right for me.
Right. So as long as everyone's following their gut, doing their, at least making their own mistakes, living with their mistakes, and then going along their path and growing, it's all good.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't know how many of us can actually say that we live without regret. But is there something that you wish somebody had told you early on in life so that you didn't have to go down that path?
No, I'm really happy. I have no regrets. I truly don't. Not because of anything else. Of course, I've made my mistakes and I've learned from my mistakes, and I'd call them learning experiences more than mistakes, really. But I wouldn't be where I am today and who I am today if I hadn't lived this life and done what I did. So no regrets at all. I wouldn't change one hair on my path to here.
How lovely. So usually when I do this podcast, I ask my guests if there is something that they'd like to ask me. So I throw the question open to you as well. Is there something that you'd like to ask me as a psychologist or in the mental health zone?
No questions really, but I really hope that your podcast gets out there, and I hope that enough people listen to it to understand the importance of mental health. Because I think the first thing that the worst thing and the first thing that social media has taught us is to look at everybody else's lives and to compare ourselves to their photoshopped versions of it.
True.
And that's not the truth. That's really not the truth. There is no perfect life. There is no perfect person. There is no perfect world. And, it's just how you see your world that matters. Whether you're, looking at it with loving, kind, compassionate eyes or not. And that's where mental health comes in. So I'm really happy to be on this podcast with you. And I really hope it reaches the right people. And I hope it reaches, somebody who needs it.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people have now started looking at movies, looking at even OTT platforms and gaining some kind of clarity in their mind through it. Because everyone's lost in their own way. Some people are lucky enough to find something, in celluloid which helps them. Some people are not. But I'm sure someone will listen to this and know that, okay, they are not alone. And there's lots of help out there if it is needed.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Your marriage, now I have known Mr. Devgn for a while now. I have worked with him on our CPR campaign, and he has been exemplary in the way he has helped us take the word out there. You have been associated with CPR yourself. And it's very rare that we come across celebrities, I'm being very candid with you, who give so selflessly to a cause. There is always, conditions apply. But with you and with him, there's never been a condition apply. So it's just been so magical. But how do you two do it? I mean, how are you so in tune with each other and, your value system is the same? It's just so beautiful. I mean, how do marriages like this exist?
There is no, again, I put it again out there that there is no perfect anything. There is our idea of perfection is a subjective noun. It's subjective. It's completely subjective. Your idea of perfect is not my idea of perfect. My idea of perfect is not your idea of perfect.
I stand corrected.
Exactly. So no, we are not perfect. Definitely. I think it's as far as causes are concerned, we both believe that we need to give back to society in every which way, as much as we can, and that's really where we are. We're on the same team as far as that is concerned, and so that's the reason for us being there.
Well, so from all of us, a very big thank you, and
Thank you so much.
That's a wrap for this episode of Detangle. And I would love to express my deepest gratitude to you for sharing all your thoughts and experiences. In the world of movies, the story doesn't really end. It always lingers in our thoughts and feelings. I encourage all my listeners to keep exploring the psychological layers of the films that they love. And remember, the screen may fade, but the impact can last a lifetime. Thank you so much, Kajol, for leaving such a lasting and beautiful impact through your movies and all the characters that you play.
My pleasure, Kinjal. My pleasure, entirely.
Thank you.
Thank you.